I like computer a lot, and I want to learn more about it because I want to study computer science, so that's my career that I want to have in the future.
The only thing I need help with is turning the computer on and putting the headset on my head. Other than that, I can operate just about anything else by myself.
It's a real accomplishment, and you really feel proud of yourself when you're actually able to make progress and do something without having to ask somebody else, you know. It's like you actually did it by yourself, yay, you know.
Besides an interest in technology, what these people have in common is mobility impairment. But each one is different, and so is the way they use their computers.
Each person with a mobility impairment has fairly unique needs. There isn't any specific blanket technology that's going to cover everybody. Some people may have limited use of one hand. Others may need specific positioning for a chair. They may experience fatigue. So those things need to be taken into consideration as a unique adaptation for each person.
An individual's mobility impairment may or may not be obvious to others, and people with similar medical conditions may need different types of adaptive technology. The important thing is to work closely with the person using the computer to figure out the best fit.
Pay attention to the individual and what he or she needs, both through observation of him or her in the actual environment in which the technology is being used, and also through consultations with the individual.
We'll show you some examples of adaptive technology that have been used effectively by people with mobility impairments. And we'll start with getting to the computer. You can't use a computer if you can't reach it. You have to be able to get in the building, get through the aisles, and sit comfortably at the workstation. Computers at work and at school should be in locations that are accessible to people using wheelchairs.
Physical access to buildings, labs, classrooms, all of that is extremely important because this technology, no matter how good it is completely unusable to a physically disabled person if they can't get to it.
And that means having a ramp if there are stairs, having an elevator if there are stairs inside the building, having enough room between aisles if it's a computer lab, or having enough room in the hallway.
The furniture makes a difference too. It's important to be flexible in the way you position keyboards, computer screens, and table height. Adjustable tables can be cranked higher or lower so that the monitor is at the most comfortable height. Keyboard trays can move up and down or tilt to make typing easier. Some people with mobility impairments don't have the flexibility or range of motion to use a standard keyboard. Fortunately, there's a wide range of alternatives available. Some of those are already built into current popular operating systems.
The fact that there are some basic features built into operating systems is really important. There are some very simple things that can be done using control panels, accessibility options control panels, that give access, basic access to the keyboard and to the operating system.
For example, someone using a single finger or a mouse stick wouldn't be able to type two keys simultaneously, such as Control and something else. There's a setting that allows those keys to be entered sequentially. Another setting eliminates repeated keystrokes for someone who keeps a key pressed down too long. And features like autocorrect, which is part of Microsoft Word, allow the user to abbreviate long words or even sentences with a brief letter sequence. Once the abbreviations are set, they can make typing faster and more accurate. There are also physical adaptations to consider. For example, a key guard.
The key guard agrees it fits every keyboard and it has holes for each key and prevents people from typing a key they don't mean to hit if their movements are not controlled.
For people who have limited range of motion, a mini keyboard may be helpful. There are also left and right-handed keyboards, which can be used with only one hand. For someone with good range of motion but poor dexterity, there are keyboards with extra large keys.
One thing that I use is into the keys keyboard where the keys are enlarged and there's more space between buttons because when I hit keys on the regular keyboard, I get double letters.
For someone who can't activate a keyboard physically, a virtual keyboard may be useful. This appears on the computer screen as a picture of a keyboard. The keys can be activated with a mouse, trackball, or alternative pointing system. Some virtual keyboards may include features such as alternate key layouts or word prediction software. Word prediction programs help people type correctly and more quickly. The program prompts the user with a list of possible word choices based on words that have already been typed. Some programs collect new words as they're used and work with a user's common vocabulary in making predictions.
I throw in a letter, like let's say I throw in a T, and like 5 words that start with T will pop up. The most common ones that I use. They'll pop up and I'll click on it and it'll just print it out.
Graphical user interfaces are everywhere, and you need to have some sort of a pointing device to access the material on the computer, icons, clicking, pointing, all those things. And so you either need to use a mouse or find an alternative to using the mouse.
Although some people can use a standard mouse, there are alternative pointing devices for those who can't.
I have a special mouse so you can move more easily than the regular mouse.
Trackballs are a good place to start. The trackball's control surface is easier to manipulate than the mouse. On some trackballs, buttons provide features such as double-clicking, click and hold, and other commands. They can be used on the desk or, for people who use their feet instead of their hands, on the floor. Another choice is a joystick, which many people already use to drive a wheelchair.
I can't really do those real fine motor movements, so like I have that joystick.
People with good head control but no use of their limbs can use a head-controlled pointing system. This system uses infrared detection and a transmitter or reflector worn on the user's head. It translates head movements into pointer movement on the screen. This can be combined with an on-screen keyboard for full computer control.
Well, the headmaster that I use, it just controls the mouse, the cursor on the keyboard, and the little thing that I blow into, that's the button click.
Switches work with a box or emulator that sends keyboard or mouse commands to the computer. They come in a wide variety and can be controlled with nearly any body part.
Some people would rely on, for example, a device that could actually attach to their skin, and any variation in their muscle tone would activate the switch. Other people might have a light-sensitive switch that when they blink, there's enough variation in light that it would activate the switch. And then others may use something that just detects a slight variation in their finger moving on a switch.
Scanning and Morse code are two of the input methods that rely on switches. With scanning, the user activates a switch that brings up an options menu on the screen, then continues to activate the switch to make specific choices. Morse code uses a sip and puff switch, where dot is a sip and dash is a puff. Special hardware and software translates Morse code into a form that computers understand. Any switch system should be mounted by a knowledgeable professional.
Well, it's important to take into consideration all the needs of the user. Someone may think they can just locate a switch somewhere on a wheelchair, but they might be neglecting other needs of that wheelchair user. For example, if the arm needs to come off for them to come in and out of that chair, that switch is going to need to be located in a position that works with those other adaptations.
I'm a junior this year.
Speech recognition products allow users to bypass the keyboard completely.
I use a program that helps me type. Whatever I say, it types. It's a microphone. I talk into the microphone and it types it out on the computer screen.
Speech recognition software converts spoken words into text on the computer. The person using it speaks into the microphone in a normal manner. This type of system requires that the user train it to recognize their unique voice.
The truth is,
It's also important to correct any recognition errors that the system makes.
most of us are intimidated by computers.
To use speech recognition technology effectively, it's important to have good voice and breath stamina. Good reading comprehension is also helpful because there are always corrections to the program's text output.
But it gets easier with practice.
This research effort confirms what so many of us believe.
Reading systems, which involve both hardware and software, are helpful for people who find it difficult to hold printed material or turn pages. A scanner converts hard copy into a digital image, which is then converted into a text file that is recognized by the computer. Next, the words come up on the screen at the same time that a speech synthesizer reads them.
Seems a form of magic.
It's always important to consider the simple things. Sometimes materials around the house or office are all you'll need to make equipment accessible.
There are some fairly low-budget, easy solutions. You can, for example, get a power strip and duct tape it to the edge of a table where a wheelchair user could roll up, activate the switch, and turn on a computer system without relying on another user to turn it on for them. Or you may have a piece of PVC plumbing that you could mount to an area near a touchpad, and someone that uses a mouth stick could store their mouth stick in that.
The most important part of selecting adaptive technology is to recognize the needs of the individual using it. The best adaptations are the ones you choose yourself. It's all about personal success.
The technology that's being adapted is now quickly becoming the core of our modern economy and also our social life. Without access to the technology that allows us to access these new means, it makes it nearly impossible for the disabled individual to participate fully in society.
For more information, contact DoIT on the web www.washington.edu/DOIT. Phone, voice, or TTY, area code 206-685-DOIT. Address, DoIT, University of Washington, Box 355670, Seattle, Washington, 98195-5670. Director Cheryl Bergstaller. Funding for this video was provided by the State of Washington. Any opinions, findings, and conclusions or recommendations expressed in this product do not necessarily reflect the views of the funder. Copyright 2007 and 2001, University of Washington. A generation ago, personal computers began to make their mark on the world. It was the beginning of an incredible change in the way we do things. For people with disabilities, that change was even more profound.
For the first time, people with disabilities, particularly people who are blind, had a chance to compete successfully using the computer.
I found that computers opened up a whole new world, and I could get a lot of stuff in Braille. What I can do is I can use my screen reader to get into a different program. I can type something up just regularly on the computer, hit 3 buttons, and it will be in Braille right in front of me on a piece of paper.
The program I use for speech helps me read everything that, like email, and if I look for information about something, it would tell me the results.
They're talking about adaptive technology, software and hardware systems that assist computer and internet access for people with disabilities.
The technology that we have available is appropriate for people with a wide range of sensory impairments. Everything for somebody with a minor hearing impairment, where we might do some captioning or special blinking on the screen, to somebody who's blind, who needs speech output, or maybe wants to incorporate speech output with speech input.
People with sensory impairment are affected in the way they use vision, hearing, or touch. They may have a slight loss of ability, or they may be completely unable to use one or more of their senses. People with visual impairments have low vision or blindness. People with hearing impairments may be deaf or hard of hearing. Those with tactile impairments experience numbness or limited sensitivity, often in hands or fingers.
Sensory impairments affect people in a variety of ways, depending on how well they've adjusted to their disability, how significant it is. For me personally, with a significant, profound hearing loss, I have issues with communication. Hearing and talking on a regular phone is nearly impossible for me. However, the use of computers lately has really enhanced my communication abilities, especially with the use of email. With email, I'm able to communicate with anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Some people with sensory impairments may not need adaptive technology for computer access. Others will require significant enhancements. To decide what works best for you, start by determining what you want to be able to do with the computer. Then choose accommodations that help you do those things.
It's absolutely vital that somebody with a disability be involved in the decision-making process when it comes to selecting their adaptive technology. They're the experts who know what they need, so it's imperative that they be part of evaluating what's going to be a successful solution.
Adaptive technology has helped me out a great deal. I can get on the internet and access anything I want to with voice output on the computer, and it's just really helped me out a lot.
We'll show you some of the computing tools that people with sensory impairments have used successfully. These are just some of the options. There are always other approaches to try, and new hardware and software are being developed all the time.
Summer study schedule.
We'll start with visual impairments. First, a definition. Low vision is a loss of visual acuity while retaining some vision. People may have uniform low vision, or they may have variations such as tunnel vision or alternating areas of vision and total blindness. There may be light sensitivity or an inability to see colors. People who are blind have very little or no vision at all.
I'm going to Internet Explorer right now.
HTTP.
Speech output is the most popular form of access for people who are blind. This software allows the computer to read aloud text, email, or web pages.
Page has 31 links.
Ryan, a high school student who is blind, uses this type of software.
It can tell you all the stuff on the screen, and it speaks through your sound card. It's good for surfing the web, doing email, or doing reports. I can go into a Word document, I can start typing, it will speak the character as I'm typing it. I can also have it read to me exactly what I've typed, so I can know if I made any spelling mistakes.
I like JAWS for Windows.
People who are blind use a standard keyboard for input. That standard keyboard also controls the screen reader.
Link reference tools. Enter.
Braille output systems are also available for those who need more detailed information than speech output provides. Refreshable Braille displays echo information from the screen to a panel with Braille cells with movable pins. To print materials for later reference, a Braille embosser gives a permanent record.
Yeah, about 8 minutes.
Portable note takers using speech or Braille can be invaluable for people on the go.
I'm writing this down.
Many people with low vision use screen enlargement software. This enlarges text and graphics displayed on the monitor.
Everything is magnified as much as you want, so I have it 8 times the normal screen on the computer.
You can also use closed-circuit TVs or video magnifiers to enlarge printed materials or photographs. This camera has autofocus and can be used with a computer monitor.
You slide your paper under and then just fool with the knobs a bit and you can get it as big or as small as you like.
For those who are sensitive to light, the enlargement systems can also reverse the screen from black on white to white on black. And large print keytop labels may be helpful for people with low vision who are learning to type.
I have a question about this word. What does it mean?
People with hearing impairments may have partial or complete hearing loss. And for general computer use, there's very little need for adaptive technology. Built-in operating features offer visual alternatives to audio signals.
For example, when you get a signal from the computer, like a beep or a honk that says you've done something wrong, then they can make it do something else to show me that something's wrong.
Check out both academics and accommodations. Streaming multimedia is a concern for people who can't hear. Captioning for videos or audio transcribed into text are ideal. However, most content developers don't include this. Some do.
When I use my computer at home, some of the games and so forth and the internet has closed captioning.
For immediate conversation, people who are deaf or hard of hearing have some electronic options. One choice is instant messaging software. Another is to use a TTY or TDD device, which sends typed messages over telephone lines. The newer TTY or TDD versions allow conversation between someone with a computer and someone using the TTY or TDD.
Final fourth quarter projections.
Final fourth quarter projections.
People with limited sensitivity in their hands or fingers may not be able to use a standard keyboard and mouse. Speech input software allows them to control a computer and enter text. If the loss of sensitivity is peripheral neuropathy due to diabetes, there may be vision loss as well. In that case, speech output can be combined with speech input, using middleware to connect the two programs.
Pay close attention to the recognition accuracy of the system.
Middleware allows the speech output software to work with the speech input software. It brings the two together so that the person who is speaking and listening to the computer can have a successful experience.
Selecting adaptive technology should be based on individual needs. For education, employment, and everything else, it's all about success.
The advancement of technology and the use of computers in the last 10 or 15 years has just been phenomenal, especially for people with disabilities. And to see my peers, other people with disabilities, succeed well in school and careers is just a wonderful sight. And who knows what the future holds.
For more information, contact DoIT on the web www.washington.edu/DOIT. Phone, voice, or TTY, area code 206-685-DOIT. Address, DoIT, University of Washington, Box 355670, Seattle, Washington, 98195-5670. Director Cheryl Bergstaller. Funding for this video was provided by the State of Washington. Any opinions, findings, and conclusions or recommendations expressed in this product do not necessarily reflect the views of the State of Washington. Copyright 2007 and 2001, University of Washington.